Hi, everyone. My name's Nima Shams. Nice to meet you. I run product at DigiLens. I've actually been in the head-worn space for 13 years, building multitude of industrial and enterprise-targeted products. It's great to be back on stage. It's been personally for me almost 3 years, and seeing the market grow. AWE is a good litmus test for that. And as AWE is growing, you can see the interest in this market. So it's very exciting to be here. Today, our goal is to talk about the Lite-Industrial platform and the challenges there and how we could resolve those challenges. So as you creators and developers start investing in this market. So good place to start is, why do we even need XR in the Lite-Industrial market? What are the challenges it's trying to resolve? And historically, looking at Bureau statistics, the efficiency of the workforce has stagnated. We've hit a productivity plateau. So there are major challenges. The workforce, everyone's employed, everyone's working hard, but the efficiency and the improvements in that work has not been there. Historically, if you look at when that happens, it's technology that takes us to the next step, right? Industrial revolution, automotive, computers, mobile phones. It's always industry, technology and industry that take us through that plateau. And luckily, about 6 years ago, they did a study of XR in the enterprise marketplace. And there were huge efficiencies. This is hard dollars, right? This isn't quality of life, finding pocket monsters out in the world. And those are great, but we're talking about hard cash here and improvements. So time to first fix and accuracy of the work, efficiency of getting the work done. So there's breakthroughs, and there's an actual need in XR to have those breakthroughs. However, for some reason, that technology has not been adopted. And do we know why? Why has it not been adopted? Why has it not been deployed? The need is there. The breakthrough is there. AI's been around, 5G's been around. That technology's been around, but we still haven't gone through that plateau. But 6 years ago, studies were done that showed that plateau. And one good way to understand why it hasn't happened is to look at the history of enterprise and light industrial products and where they come from. So if you take a trip back to the past and really understand where these platforms originated. It's very clear in the head-worn market, there's two camps, right? There's one camp that says form factor dominates all, even at the cost of feature set, right? It needs to be small, it needs to be out of the way, and that's what we need to win. There's another camp that says it's all about function and technology, even though it's not the right form factor, even though it might be a large device, even though it might be tethered. And so you can see almost like the same people are going from company to company, and there's a pendulum swing of technology. If you go back in time, the first time Google Glass came out, a guy was jumping out of a plane, skydiving. You guys remember that? When Magic Leap, yeah, John, when Magic Leap first came out, there were whales in auditoriums. That was the genesis of it. It was almost like we built this cool technology and trying to find a home for the technology, rather than understand what the workplace needs, what core abilities and capabilities need to be there for the entrepreneur and the enterprise and light industrial market to be successful. And if you notice, for multiple reasons, those products weren't necessarily successful. So what did those companies do? They pivoted and said, I was kidding. This was actually an enterprise product, right? So HoloLens, which was Minecraft, is now targeting to be enterprise. But the roots, the decisions that the product engineers made were all based around a consumer or technology showcase. And so there's a lot of potential challenges that they weren't able to address because of the original decisions they did. And just pivoting to enterprise doesn't necessarily give you the right product. You need to think about the use case and then work back to the technology. Right now, we're in a very interesting time ahead, Warren, and there's actually two products that launched this year, or are going to launch this year, that represent the two bookends of the enterprise market. One product, and I'm a little bit biased because I know this team, is the RealWear Navigator 500. This is an amazing product because it was purposely built for heavy industrial use. right? This product was designed to have an amazing camera, capture the voice, you could drop it on the ground. It wasn't designed to track where you are in the world. It wasn't designed to do AR. The display is almost secondary, right? It's a glance at display. But they are successful. They've shipped tens of thousands of units because they're purpose-built for the heavy industrial market. And they're focusing on the key areas of that market. On the other end of the spectrum is Magic Leap 2. So Magic Leap 2 is a beautiful technology showcase platform. I had the honor of actually wearing it, and that 70-degree field of view is spectacular. Their inside-out tracking, some of the best I've seen in the industry. But is it an enterprise product when your see-through is only 22% or lower? Is it an enterprise product when you have 3 devices you need to carry? You have a cable going to a massive compute that's running an AMD processor. You have a handheld device. I think for certain markets, maybe CAD visualization, maybe medical use cases, it's great. But for line operators, for being indoor or outdoor, for clearly seeing the space you're around, there's challenges. One simple challenge, for example, when building enterprise products in my past, was peripheral vision, right? It is extremely dangerous for a user not to be able to see their peripheral. You don't know where that forklift is. And having that peripheral vision obstructed can be potentially hazardous. And so, again, not taking away anything from Magic Leap because it's an amazing product. The field of view is massive, the tracking's massive, but it's not purposely built for enterprise because its roots come from the consumer market, the visualization market. What you need to be successful in the core majority of enterprise products is a binocular system that is both useful indoors and outdoors, that gives you water clear transparency so you can see your surroundings and you can see the content in front of you. You can't obstruct any of their view, the peripheral or in front of them, because that can be dangerous, right? You need a product that's all in one. If you're climbing on a helicopter or if you're working on a line with robotics, does it make sense to have a cable? That cable can snag, that cable can become a liability. So everything in the system needs to be integrated into the headset. And it needs to be built from its genes, from its DNA for industrial markets with ANSI safety, mil-spec drop test, IP ratings. It needs to be purpose-built and can't be a pivot. So that leads us to what we're doing at DigiLens. DigiLens has been around for quite a while, 15 years, and it's been tackling the hardest challenge, which is the near-eye display. We're literally changing the laws of physics to create an image close to your eye. For the last 15 years, DigiLens has been focused on the display. And in the display market, there's been some consolidations, but there's roughly 3 methods of doing it. There's mirrors, there's surface relief, or there's holographic. And what personally attracted me to DigiLens, and it's always been on my radar, is the ability to not build one of the best displays, but a scalable and cost-effective display. Right? There's other technologies out there that give you amazing image quality, but does it hit the price point to be usable for enterprise and potentially in the future consumer product? Is it scalable? Does it create an image that can be used indoors or outdoors? Imagine you had your phone, but you could only use it indoors, and you could use it outdoors. That's not as useful of a product. And so DigiLens has been tackling that core fundamental hard technology, and we've achieved that. So tomorrow at our booth, you will see 500 nits per lumen waveguides. That is some of the most efficient waveguides that exist out there. You're going to see amazing image quality and uniformity. You're going to see full color and transparency. And what you're going to hold in your hand is a product that's scalable. Not only is it scalable, but we have 2 core partners who are investors in us, Corning, largest glass vendor, and Mitsubishi Chemical Plastic. And we will actually demonstrate full color plastic waveguides tomorrow at our booth. And that's an essential element in the enterprise industrial market. So we have the best waveguides, we believe. But then how do you drive those waveguides, right? What is the projection technology that exists to drive those waveguides? Last year was all about LBS. You guys remember at AWE, LBS, LBS, LBS. What happened? The problem with LBS is the image quality is not there. Unfortunately, when coupled with certain type of near-eye displays, you don't get the image quality you need yet. Doesn't mean it won't get there, but HoloLens was an example of potential artifacts and issues you see with LBS. Second big talk was OLEDs. OLEDs, the brightness isn't quite there yet, right? OLEDs give you amazing image quality. They give you amazing uniformity. But if you want a truly outdoor usable product, it just doesn't have enough brightness. DLP's been around for a while. I've actually developed products with DLP. The problem with DLP is it hasn't evolved in 7 years, right? The core chips and technology that drive those mirrors have not changed. So if you're building a product that's supposed to be integrated, form factor and efficiency are going to be paramount. And then the last one, which is the favorite buzzword, is micro LEDs. For me, being in the industry for 13 years, micro LEDs have always been 2-3 years for the last 13 years, right? They're always 2-3 years away. Micro LEDs give a fundamental benefit because when you need a pixel, you turn on that pixel. But there's core challenges in the micro LED industry that have not been resolved yet. And they're probably 2 to 3 years away from actually being full color micro LED technology. So we built our own. DigiLens actually built its own LCOS LED driven platform. And just like our waveguides, we built it to be scalable. We built it to be at a price point that can be mass produced and used in enterprise products and eventually maybe even in consumer products. We built it in a form factor and size that's less than 2.5 cc's. So 2.5 cc's allows you to integrate it into the temple or the eyebrow section of a device. And we built it to produce polarized light at 5 lumens. With our waveguides and 5 lumens out, you have the efficiency to see sunlight readable product. So the third part, you have your display, you have your light engine, the missing piece is the compute. So about a year ago, almost more than a year ago, we built the world's first XR2, Qualcomm XR2 platform. So our team created this developer kit to be modular. So the waveguides come off, the projector comes off, and you can either tweak the hardware or build on the software. This is an all-in-one system with inside-out tracking. It has Wi-Fi 6 or 6E integrated, and it's using the latest chip from Qualcomm to produce that efficient compute that you need for an integrated headset. So, we've built something. If you have the world's, what we think, best waveguides, you have the world's, one of the world's most efficient projectors, you have a compute platform that's so ahead of its time that we're working hand in hand with the team at Qualcomm to optimize, and you have a team that has actual enterprise experience. And you bring these together, you can make a product that's amazing. And what we're wanting to indicate to you creators and developers is we believe that right industrial light enterprise platform is on its way. But just having a platform doesn't mean you're going to win. What is going to allow you to win is having the content and the functionality and the creativity of that market solving the hard problems, finding the efficiencies. We can create the platform, but what we need is the developer community to come support that platform. This product's a little early to show. If you're interested, please talk to the DigiLens team at the booth. We are demonstrating our current technology. We are demonstrating our waveguide. We are demonstrating our projector, and you can wear the developer kit for the headset. And we want your honest feedback, because we believe that there's a need in the market to build an enterprise industrial platform from the ground up, and we're trying to address that need. And this is where a fundamental question I've been asked quite a bit is, what is that key application? What is that key use case in the enterprise market? And if you historically look at iPhones, when iPhone reached out, what was the key application? Was it Angry Birds? For all the single people out there, was it Tinder? Was it Uber? Right? What was the key application? The key innovation was the ability to hold a sheet of glass in your hand and naturally interact with it the way you would interact with other objects. That's what made the iPhone powerful, is that you took something and you touched it, and you naturally interacted. So that's what we're looking at building with the developer and creator community, is that key functionality and allowing it to be done in a natural way for this next computing platform. We're also working to create the APIs and the software to allow easy development onto that platform. But we need your honest feedback. And so what we ask is, come build the next mobile computing platform with us and help us create this future. Thank you very much. Oh, you have a mic? Okay.
Yeah, we have about 5 minutes for Q&A. Just feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions. Ready?
Hi, Greg Winger from Northrop. Quick question. What's the battery life on your projected headset? Because if you want to be in industry, you got to be looking at, 10-hour work shifts at least.
Yeah, that's actually a very excellent question, an insightful question, which means you've actually been testing and building product. There's different ways to approach the battery life, right? One way is to do tethered, but as we discussed, tethered is not the right solution. Other ways to integrate it into the system, but have the ability for the system between breaks to be recharged or swapped out. Or the third way is to actually have a hot swappable solution. So the system runs and you could swap it. We are exploring and supporting all three. We're not giving much detail in the headset, but we understand that it needs to run for hours, not minutes. And that's the way we're targeting that. And if you want to discuss further in detail, we can afterwards. Great question, though. Thank you. Anyone else? Oh.
Here we go, coming right there.
Uh-oh, I'm worried about this question.
Quick clarifying question. So this platform you guys are planning to launch, is this more for, let's say, developers or a company wants to pick that up and then like sort of white label it and brand it themselves and go after a vertical, or is it for someone who wants to, build a derivative device out of that and do the same after, or what, how do you see that playing out?
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. So DigiLens, and I like saying this analogy, and my team, I apologize, you guys heard it a lot, makes the best tires in the world, right? We've been building the waveguide, which we say is the best tires in the world, but the world hasn't seen a car yet, right? People have bought the tire and used the stick and ran around, or put it on a tree and swung, but no one really understood what the actual capability is. So we need to create gravity towards our product. So what we announced is the actual product. It is being mass-produced with one of our key partners. It is targeted to go after market. But at the end of the day, we want to push the industry forward. So if there's an opportunity for someone else and say, hey, they want their brand or they want something, we'll discuss it if it makes business sense. But our goal is to push this market forward and show the market what the art of the possible is, and actually deliver an industrial light enterprise product. So our core business model is still, we will enable you with our waveguide and core technology for you to be successful. But at the same time, we see an opening in the market, and we are going to try to address that with the right product. I hope that answered your question.
We have time for one more question, if anyone has anything else. All right, coming right away.
Sorry, it's hard seeing you guys. There's bright lights.
Yeah, when you do your market analysis, there's a huge price point difference between a HoloLens 2 on one side and some of the RealWear stuff on the other side. What sort of, how are you calibrating your whole design experience to try and hit that sweet spot?
Yeah, that's another accent. Sorry, can you say your name and which company you're with? Just.
My name's Alex. I'm with Augmentor Incorporated.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Thank you, Alex. The challenge for some of those pioneer, let's call them pioneer devices, is that they're building on core technology that's very expensive, right? The waveguides, the projection system, the inside-out tracking, the custom compute. In the case of Magic Leap 1, they were doing light field and multiple waveguides, right? Suddenly, no one's talking about light field anymore. That drives cost, right? That drives fundamental cost. And the key difference between DigiLens is we understand that because we're all have designed head-worn orbit in the head-worn industry. And so we're building it from the ground up to be scalable. Our waveguides are literally sheets of glass with our polymer and another sheet of glass, and we use laser printing technology to build it. So where's the cost in that, right? It's fundamentally from the ground up been built to scale and be cost efficient. The reason we selected LCOS for our projection system is LCOS is a known quantity. We've just figured out a way to fold the light rays onto themselves to allow it to be in a package that's 2.5 cc's, but still 720p and sunlight bright. And so one of the reasons and challenges they faced in launching a consumer product and then pivoting enterprise is that they had very expensive core technology behind it. And that's why we fundamentally solved the core technology and then built the product. So actual costs we're not announcing right now, but it is in a cost point that we believe will bring major ROIs for the light industrial enterprise market. Cool?
Thank you, Nima. This was so insightful.
Thank
you
you
so much.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
I'm sure some of y'all will want to ask him some questions. Feel free to ask those questions right outside. We're going to get prepared for our next panel.